Hi everyone, this is Ixo. In today's guide, I'm going to be showing you how to navigate through the Reassembly Sandbox. Reassembly Sandbox is where you're going to be making all of your mod stuff, at least until you make factions.lua file, which is usually like one of the last things I do just because I'm lazy, and I think that once you learn how to use the sandbox, it's a lot easier to do it than it is to build an actual vanilla campaign. First things first, we have two command inputs. We have the command line and just commands that we can write without being in the command line. You'll notice that when I put my cursor inside of the command line, it kind of changes color. And when I start typing, I am no longer able to move. So if I'm moving around using the WASD or arrow keys, I need to be doing that while my mouse cursor isn't in the command line. And same thing for all of the other commands you can do without the command line. Command line commands we will get to later. For now, the buttons you need to know are WASD and 1, 2, 3 for moving around. You can use your mouse to scroll in and out. You can move around and stuff. You can use the two brackets to make the command line bigger and smaller, and then the colon and apostrophe buttons to rotate the screen. Now, if your screen ends up being rotated, you can just get rid of that by pressing escape, which will auto-rotate it back, and then the backslash button, which will bring everything back together. If you want to leave the command line, you have to hit escape twice. But backslash to bring back command line and everything. Now, it's going to be a bit hard to see, but you also have 3 buttons for view mode, and one of them is 2, which is the view mode we're in right now. This is what I call view mode. Everything shows up the way it would look like in-game. Then there's edit mode. So here in edit mode, you can see lines and ports. It's going to be easier if I spawn in a faction, actually. So if I spawn in this faction, this is what view mode looks like. This is what edit mode looks like. You press 3 to get into edit mode and 2 to get into view mode. And then if you have a ship selected and you press 1, you get into fly mode. And controls for fly mode are the same as they would be in just regular campaign. WASD to move around. You can also hit the R key to change your rotation, T key to disable and enable auto aim, Y key to disable and enable auto zoom, although that isn't really a feature. You can use your mouse keys to fire. You can hit B to get the binding. So here I am shooting some guns. And then once I go back into view or edit mode, I'm no longer in control of the ship. Now to get into Sandbox command line commands. We're going to make this window a bit bigger. Remember, that's by pressing one of the colon buttons, the close colon. And then the first command that we're going to learn is clear, or CL for short. Each command is, you can type out the long thing, or you can type out the minimum amount of letters. So C will not do anything because it's asking you, do I mean clear, command, conquer, constructor, credits, cursor, or CVAR? But if I write CL, that is unambiguously clear because none of these other ones have CL in front of them. I can also put CLE, CLEA, CLEAR, and the computer will know that all of these mean clear. Now, if I want to start spawning in some blocks, I have to double click, and then I either press I, or import, or I, to import some ships. I'm not going to do that right now because then you'd be able to see a bunch of my own private information because it shows all of the folders on your computer. Or you can do minp. If you hit tab, it'll autocomplete. And if you hit tab again, it'll show you which min palettes are available to you. So if I want to spawn in Antecedents, which is the faction I was just playing with, I'd hit min palette 29 because that's the number in front of it. Hit enter and they will spawn. Same thing is palette 29. And the difference between min palette and palette is that palette shows every single scale versus min palette only shows scale 1. Obviously, guns and stuff, it's going to show all of the scales because that's just how it works. It shows kind of like a campaign view. But blocks and stuff, it's not going to show all of this useless garbage. So CL to clear again, and then minp 29 to get min palette. If you want to see a faction's ships, you would write fleet palette, and then the faction's number. So again, you can hit tab to autocomplete and hit tab again to see the list of factions. So if I want to see antecedents again, I type in 29, hit enter. I can look around at these ships in this faction and then clear them later. There's a few other commands. You can do target, and then you specify what size target you want. So 1000 will spawn this target at this blue little cursor. Clear to clear, asteroid, you can kind of like, that one I'd actually use the help command for. Help asteroid, and it'll tell you what the thing is. You can have a help command in there. Asteroid obviously is, let's just do size. We can do like 10, and it's going to give an asteroid of size 10. We can also give asteroid of size 10 with side lengths of like 4. That's going to make it out of squares. And then if you just hit tab, it'll tell you all of the commands available. Honestly, the only ones you really use, other than the ones I've just shown you, are activate, and that's if you want to like look at a ship. So if I do fleet palette 29 and activate this ship, it'll start moving on its own. There's also deactivate, which will turn it off and revert it back to a dead state. We'll keep this one flying around for now. Credits is something you might want to use in campaign mode. You can just give yourself a bunch of credits that way. Again, if you press the / button, it'll open the command line. You can also, if you don't want to clear stuff, write explode and then make a huge explosion. Actually, I can make a bigger explosion. And that'll clear everything on the screen. One thing that's interesting though is clear will actually also clear projectiles. So that's useful. Import, we talked about that. God will give your ship infinite health. It can't be damaged. Penrose will spawn a Penrose asteroid, but you only get iterations because that's how that one works. And then reload is for modding. I've talked about that one already in my previous guides. It just reloads the game. And then the only other one left is save. So if I was going to like change this ship or something, let's say I moved this here and then back, this ship is now different than the original one. So if I write SSAVE and hit enter, it's going to save this into my mods folder. Another thing you can do is like if I make a ship out of this mod, here's my beautiful ship. I can save this, but if I hit enter right now, it throws an error because it doesn't know this is a new ship. So I have to write SSAVE and then type in the name of the ship that I'm going to save this as. So let's say I want this ship to be named B. I'm going to write SSAVE B, hit enter, and then fleetp 20, and now I have this ship called B. You can see down here it's called 20_B. If you want spaces in your ship names, you can SSAVE B_space. And now when I load this, I'm going to get B and B_space. In Sandbox, you're going to see that underscore. In campaign, you are not. And that's everything there is to see with Sandbox. This video is a lot less scripted just because of the nature of Sandbox. Honestly, all you have to do is hit tab, and then if you don't know what anything is called, just put help targets, and it's going to kind of like tell you what you want. So size, health, shields. Let's say we want it to be size 20, so that's going to be 20 blocks. Health, each block is going to have a certain amount of health, and if we want them to have shields, we can do that too.